Roswell Incident. In July 1947, something crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico, and whatever it was, it would become the most famous UFO case in history. It begins with a rancher named William Mac Brazel, who discovered strange debris scattered across his land. He described it as unlike anything he had ever seen, lightweight, metallic, and impossible to cut or burn normally. Soon after, the US military recovered the material. Then came the moment that changed everything. A press release was issued stating the military had recovered a flying disc within hours. The statement was completely reversed. The object was suddenly a weather balloon. But what makes Roswell unsettling is not just the object, it's the speed of the silence that followed. Witnesses claimed military convoys moving debris at night, strange debris fields that were quickly cleaned. Reports of small boaties later denied or dismissed. Entire areas restricted within hours. Decades later, the official explanation became Project Mogul, a classified balloon program meant to detect Soviet nuclear tests. However, critics argue that explanation came far too late, only after the UFO narrative exploded globally. Today, Roswell exists in two realities, one of military secrecy and misidentification, another of crash retrievals and hidden technology. And the most disturbing part, no physical evidence from the original crash site has ever been publicly verified. Only stories remain. Rendlesham Forest Incident, outside RAF Bentwaters, a US Air Force base in England. Something strange unfolded over multiple nights in December 1980. It began when security personnel noticed strange lights descending into Rendlesham Forest. At first, they believed it might be an aircraft crash, but what they found was far more disturbing. According to Deputy Base Commander LTKL Charles Halt's official memo, the team observed pulsing red and blue lights moving through trees, a triangular or metallic craft hovering silently, symbols or markings on its surface, beams of light scanning the ground. One witness, Jim Penniston, claimed he physically approached the craft and even touched it briefly. He later reported receiving a series of binary-like codes, something still debated today. When the team returned later, they found ground impressions in a triangular pattern, broken branches and scorched trees, elevated radiation readings in localized areas. Over the next days, the phenomenon reportedly returned. Military explanations later suggested a misidentified lighthouse, aircraft lights, but critics argue none of these explain radar inconsistencies, physical ground tresses, multiple trained military witnesses. Rendlesham remains chilling because of one key detail. This wasn't a distant sighting. It happened inside a secured military perimeter. Phoenix Lights, 1997. On March 13, 1997, the skies over Arizona went silent in a way thousands would never forget. It began in the evening, reports of lights forming a massive V-shaped structure moving slowly across the sky. Witnesses described a craft so large it blocked stars behind it, a silent glide across hundreds of miles, a structure with perfect geometric formation, no engine noise whatsoever. Some described it as a city in the sky. The sightings stretched from Nevada to Phoenix, covering hundreds of miles and lasting for hours. Then came the official explanation. Military flares dropped during training exercises were blamed for the event. But witnesses strongly disagreed. Flares fall and drift randomly. The lights moved in perfect formation. The object appeared solid, not separate points of light. Many sightings occurred before the flare drops. One of the most famous witnesses, Governor Fife Symington, initially mocked the event, but later admitted he also saw something he could not explain. To this day, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the largest mass UFO sightings in modern history, because whatever crossed the sky that night, it wasn't just seen, it was witnessed by thousands at once.
Tor
Ariel School UFO Incident. In Rua, Zimbabwe, at Ariel School, a normal school day turned into one of the most disturbing mass sightings ever recorded. During morning break, over 60 children ran outside after reporting strange silver objects in the sky. They described a craft landing near the school field. Then came the beings. Children independently described small humanoid figures. Large black, almond-shaped eyes. Pale, almost reflective skin. No visible mouths moving when communicating. But the most chilling part wasn't just the appearance. It was the message. Multiple children later reported receiving a telepathic communication, not spoken directly into their minds. They said the beings warned them about environmental destruction, technology overtaking nature, a future where humanity loses balance. Psychologist Dr. John Mack, Harvard University, later interviewed the children separately. Their accounts remain consistent with no coordination. Even more unsettling, the children were separated immediately after the event. Their drawings all showed similar figures and craft. Many maintained their story into adulthood. Skeptics argue imagination or mass suggestion, but believers point to one fact. Children rarely create identical, complex narratives without influence.
5.
Belgian UFO Wave. For nearly a year, Belgium became the center of repeated UFO reports. It began in November 1989, when multiple police officers reported triangular objects moving silently across the sky. These were not vague sightings. They included structured triangular craft with lights at each corner, low altitude, silent flight, slow hovering followed by sudden acceleration. On one of the most important nights, Belgian Air Force F-16 jets were scrambled. Radar confirmed something unusual. Objects were tracked electronically. Pilots attempted visual contact. Sudden speed changes exceeded known aircraft capabilities.
6.
USS Nimitz. UFO incident. Off the coast of Southern California in 2004, U.S. Navy pilots experienced something that would later reshape modern UFO discussions. During training exercises, radar operators detected unusual objects dropping from extreme altitude to near sea level in seconds. When pilots investigated visually, they saw it. A white, smooth, oval-shaped object, nicknamed the Tic Tac. It had no wings, no exhaust, no visible propulsion system, no heat signature. Pilot Commander David Fravor reported the object responded intelligently to his movements, mirroring and then evading him. Then, suddenly, it accelerated away, disappearing from radar in seconds. Later, the U.S. government confirmed the existence of such encounters under the term UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. What makes this case different is credibility. Military radar confirmation. Multiple trained pilots. Recorded sensor data. This wasn't a blurry photo. It was a tracked object interacting with modern fighter pilots.
7.
Betty and Barney Hill abduction. In September 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving home through rural New Hampshire when they noticed a strange light following their car. It grew brighter, closer. Then, suddenly, silence. They later found themselves miles off course with no memory of the missing time. What followed was one of the earliest recorded abduction cases in history. Under hypnosis, both Betty and Barney described being taken aboard a craft. Medical examinations by non-human beings, communication without spoken language, a sense of observation. Not agression. Their accounts matched in detail, despite being interviewed separately. Betty also described a star map shown to her aboard the craft. Decades later, some researchers claimed it loosely matched a known star system, though this remains debated. The case became the foundation for modern alien abduction narratives. Skeptics point to sleep, trauma, and hypnosis suggestion. Believers point to consistency, timing, and shared experience. But one question still lingers. How do two people lose hours of time and describe the same impossible event?